Up next on MOTV Forecast, any relief for the West fires? After weeks of burning, the West is in desperate need of rain relief. Will they get it? Also up next, find out where in the US your weekend will be a wet one. And we have reached the peak of hurricane season. We have the latest forecast on a very active tropics. That's all right here, right now on MOTV Forecast. And welcome into MOTV Forecast. Today is September 11th, 2020. I want to start by saying we remember 9/11, remember the events, remember the victims on this 19-year anniversary. And it is also the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. And right on cue, we have a lot of activity. So we're going to get to that a little later, but we do want to start with a very important story here out of the West Coast. We are continuing to track the West wildfires as they rage throughout the West. And we want to see if we're going to get any rain relief from these wildfires, or for these wildfires, I should say. And if we take a look at tomorrow's pattern, we're going to still have that high pressure in place over the Pacific Northwest, keeping a lot of that warm, dry air over portions of the Pacific Northwest. But as we head into the middle of next week, we might get a little bit of a break with a low pressure system that is expected to move into the West Coast. And that could mean some additional moisture to the atmosphere that could potentially bring up a rumble of thunder with some rain here or there. We don't want any dry lightning to cause any more wildfires. But what this means in terms of rainfall, we have the fires overlapped here with the rainfall forecast, and unfortunately we're only looking at under an inch for a majority of the area that will receive rain, and that's just along the coast. So I don't think this is going to be enough to help put out some of these fires. Hopefully we get a little bit more rain out of this than forecast, although at max right now it looks like 1 to 2 inches. And if we could see this in Seattle's 5-day forecast, unfortunately not expecting any precipitation in Seattle over the next 5 days, seeing temperatures around the mid-70s to 80s, and seeing the sun pretty much each of those days except for your Monday. So the percentage of rain staying low, maximum at 20% as we head into early next week. Hopefully we do get to see some more precipitation move through as we head throughout the week next week. But we do have some parts of the country expected to see a wet weekend, and we can see that in our national forecast here. We can see for the day today, the central portions of the country, including cities like Chicago, Kansas City, could be getting in on some rain, especially in the states of Iowa and northern Illinois, getting in on rain today. Also, spotty storms across the southeast. But northeast, beautiful weather today. We're talking about temperatures in Boston, even under 70 degrees. In New York, about 75 degrees. I think that's a perfect temperature. But unfortunately, out in the West, still expect to see a lot of sun and a lot of dry conditions, which is not going to be helping those wildfires. Now, as we head into tomorrow, we see more storms for portions of the Midwest, including Chicago. Down into the Sunshine State of Florida, I expect some of those storms as well. Spotty storms across the southeast, staying dry though in the west and staying nice in the northeast. Into our Sunday, we see things start to clear out in the Midwest. Some portions of the Ohio River Valley expected to get in on some rain as we head into your Sunday. Nashville could be getting in on some of those storms, and all along the Gulf Coast, seeing your chance at seeing some storms. Some of this is which to a tropical system we'll get into later on in the episode. But then again on Monday, a lot of the northern portions of the country staying dry, while portions along the southeast and Gulf Coast expected to see the chance of some storms. And we do start to see that little sliver of green move in for portions of the Pacific Northwest, but that rain not quite getting yet to the cities of Portland and Seattle. Now, we want to look at Hebron, Maryland's 5-day forecast showing we're going to have a pretty nice stretch of days here. We're not expecting temperatures to get into the mid-80s, Warmest day expected to be Monday with a high of 83 degrees. Some morning thunderstorms there, but the rest of the week looks beautiful. Temperatures in the mid 70s to low 80s. And look at Tuesday, 73 degrees expected in Hebron. So that is some nice, refreshing air expected to see there. And Flanders, New Jersey, not far off from that. We're talking about temperatures in the mid 70s, and with some days being, just around 70 as we head throughout the next 5 days. No rain in sight, so a beautiful 5-day forecast. Enjoy that there in the Northeast. Now, we do want to switch gears here to a little bit more of a significant wet weather type of event. Now we're talking about hurricane season 2020. We are at the peak. September 10th and September 11th are the peak climatologically for hurricane season. I'm messing up the word. Sometimes you just have it on the tip of your tongue, can't get it out. But if we look at what we're seeing in the tropics right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 disturbances that we are keeping an eye on, 2 of which are currently tropical storms. Tropical storms Paulette and Renee out in the middle of the Atlantic there. Paulette does have the chance of threatening Bermuda. We're going to get into that in just a little bit here, but we can see per the National Hurricane Center, we have 2 storms with a high chance of development, one close to home just off the east coast of Florida, and one out well into the main development region in the Atlantic, just off the coast of Africa, and one emerging from Africa right now that has a medium chance of development over the next 5 days. Now, let's start off though with tropical storms Paulette and Renee. Paulette, here's the 5-day forecast or the extended forecast and projected path for this storm. Right now, a tropical storm, winds of 65 miles per hour, although it is expected to strengthen into a hurricane as it nears the island of Bermuda. Bermuda is in the center of that cone, but once it gets around the Bermuda area, we're expecting it to start to curve out to sea. So mainland U.S. impacts, not expecting much for those. Although it does have a pretty large wind field, I do definitely think Bermuda is going to get in on at least tropical storm force winds, if not hurricane force winds, as it is expected to be a hurricane as it passes by. Renee, on the other hand, expected to stay a tropical storm, but it's going to start looking like it's going to head out to sea, and then it's going to start meandering. So definitely don't want to completely rule out any effects from this storm later down the line, but in terms of the next couple days, not expecting much impact on land and not expecting it to get very strong. Now, if we take a look at both these projected paths together, we can see the intensity of Renee. Right now, it's a 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm expected to head up towards 60 miles per hour, although it is then going to meander, expected to weaken again down to a 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm. As we head into the middle of next week, Paulette, on the other hand, going to be strengthening as it nears the island of Bermuda. Right now, expecting a Cat 2 storm approaching the island. Exactly where it tracks will determine how significant the effects on the island of Bermuda will be, but we definitely need to keep a close eye on that over the next couple of days. Right now, time frame looking like about a Monday morning threat for Bermuda. Now, if we take a look at these other disturbances that we're tracking in the Atlantic, the first disturbance we're going to check is disturbance number 2. Now, disturbance number 2 is currently just to the south of the Alabama, Florida panhandle there. It's expected, though, to move around towards the west-southwest as we head over the next 5 days with a low 30% chance of development there. So not really expecting development, still something we want to keep our eyes on because a 30% chance still is a chance. The next one we want to talk about is probably going to be the most prominent topic of discussion as we head throughout the next couple weeks even, as it has a 90% chance of developing. It's just south of the Cape Verde Islands off of the coast of Africa, and it's expected to move on a western track. Now, this western track, over time, I mean, right now we're not expecting land interaction within the next 5 days, but it is going to put the islands of the Caribbean, potentially portions of Central America into the continental United States in play as we head well down the line. So this is right now something we just need to watch because we are well away from any potential land impacts. Just watch it because I have a feeling this is something we're going to be talking about quite a bit as we head down the road a week from now. So definitely keep your eyes on this. Expect it to develop very soon per the National Hurricane Center. And then we have another thing, another disturbance, Disturbance 4, moving off of the coast of Africa. This has a 40% chance of developing over the next 5 days. This one does look like it will move out to sea as of right now, though. So if there's any good news, that's it. We don't want to see any land interaction, but can't rule anything out right now. Now, our probably most immediate threat we want to get into right now is Invest 96L. Invest 96L has a 70% chance of developing over the course of the next 5 days in that red shaded area. So we're talking about the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Right now, it is just to the southeast of Miami, expected to move into the Gulf as we head throughout the next 5 days. And if it gets a name, the name will be Sally or Teddy, because it depends on which one develops first, the one closer to home or the one out by Africa that we just were talking about that also has a high chance of development. So what's going for this invest right now? Well, we're talking about very warm water temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico, just off the southwest coast of Florida, seeing a water temperature of 87 degrees, 86 over its path in the Gulf of Mexico. So we are talking about a lot of fuel for this storm to develop, and we expect the upper level winds as well to relax and allow this storm to develop as well. So these are some signs showing that this storm is expected to develop. And in terms of rainfall forecast, most of the rain is expected to stay offshore right now, but areas along, especially the northeastern Gulf Coast, should be looking out for some rain. Cities like New Orleans expected to get in on that 2 to 3 inches of rain. Destin, 3 to 5. Tallahassee, we're talking about 1 to 2. Even portions of the Florida Peninsula, Tampa, expected to get in on 2 to 3 inches of the rain as we head throughout the next 5 days with this invest. And why don't we take a look at what this invest is looking like right now? If we take a look at its satellite, a lot of convection over the Bahama Islands right now that we are tracking and taking a look at, and this is going to be moving over the Florida Peninsula as we head throughout this upcoming weekend, really. So that is something we want to take a look at, prepare for possibility of development. And if we take a look at its forecast, we can see it's expected to bring a lot of rain to the state of Florida, move into the Gulf of Mexico, and then from there, some models develop it, most of them do, and then it'll move along the northern portions of the Gulf Coast. So that is what we're tracking with Invest 96L. And if we take a look at the tropical storm names we have left for this upcoming season, we're on Renee right now and Paulette, which is out there, which we just went through. Next 4 names, Sally, Teddy, Vicky, and Wilfred. After that, we move to the Greek alphabet, and that'll be the first time since 2005, but we already have 4 storms out there that may still develop, and we have 4 names left. So not saying they're all going to develop, but we're running out of names. Going to head to the Greek alphabet fairly soon. It's crazy to think about. We're only in September at the peak of hurricane season, but almost out of names. Definitely a crazy hurricane season this year. Well, I do want to thank you so much for joining me here on MOTV Forecast. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, whether you're dealing with fires out in the west, some rain in the southeast, or a beautiful weekend out in the northeast. There's a lot to be tracking and either enjoying or not having such a great time with this upcoming weekend. But as always, make the best of your situation and have a fantastic weekend. Signing off, it's Riley Winch.